1962.
And for the first time in a big international race, an American car shows its color.
Carroll Shelby debuts a sports car to challenge the Corvette.
Always remember something. A name doesn't make a car makes a name.
Shelby's Cobra took on the world's racing powers and forever changed the world of speed.
The Cobra is famous because it won a lot of races, not because the name Cobra is on it.
Today in Monterey, California, the man and his machines are celebrated at the Rolex Monterey Motorsports Reunion. Years ago, racer and entrepreneur Carroll Shelby unleashed his creation upon an unsuspecting world. The Cobra quickly became a car of myth and legend.
Designed to compete with the Chevrolet Corvette, both on the track and on the road, the little English chassis with the big Ford V8 did exactly that within a year of its introduction. Now, if you'd like a nice one for your garage, you're talking about a six-figure proposition.
So here we are 50 years on, standing in the midst of the greatest assemblage of racing Cobras ever put together.
The Cobra celebration kicked off with a group portrait of the 45 cars chosen to participate in the weekend races. When the gates opened to the public, fans were treated to a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to see all of Shelby's historically significant Cobras under one roof. It was a stunning display of the man's vision, determination, and unique partnership with Ford Motor Company.
He had such an impact on the automotive industry, and he touched so many people's lives. I saw a man coming in today in a GT350, the biggest smile on his face. You know, they're passionate customers, passionate owners, and that's what Carroll brought. That I don't think, frankly, there's no other man that I know of today that could have done or will continue to do what he's done.
He was just such a great guy and so funny and so caring of other people. And I mean, for someone like me, I grew up sort of worshiping him, and he's an idol of mine. And the great thing about Carroll is that he spoke to people my age, my father's age, even people younger than me, but just a really warm and caring person and so funny. It was just a pleasure to be around him.
The paddock was reminiscent of the early 60s and the glory days of the Cobra. You couldn't round a corner without seeing and hearing these Ford-powered Corvette killers.
They're just beautiful. I mean, everything about them. It's something I've loved ever since I was a kid. I'm 65 and I'm driving one now.
How many times are you ever going to see like 30, 40 Cobras ever hit the track at one place? Not going to happen.
And when it came time to practice, there was no doubt when the Cobras were on track.
I love seeing these fabulous cars, but you know, and I've raced a Cobra a couple times over at Goodwood at the Revival, and they're beasts to drive. I mean, it's like an animal. You're out there really fighting it the whole time, but they're fast. And then, of course, all the other race cars here, I mean, you not only get to see them, but you get to actually see them on the track and hear them and all the sounds and smells. Everything that's attracted me to racing, it's all here.
Even away from the track, the Cobra's thunder roared throughout the countryside of the Monterey Peninsula on the traditional Friday drive from Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca to the Quail Lawn.
It's been an unforgettable experience here for the 50th anniversary of the Shelby Cobra, as well as for all who have come here to celebrate.
And it's evident this legacy will live on for generations to come. The Gardner brothers from San Clemente, California helped their dad restore his Cobra. And their reward? A weekend here celebrating their hero's legacy. Welcome back. The Cobras are about to start their 50th anniversary race. A full field passes by. Take a look at number 96. That's Jim Farley, who's not only racing here today, he'll be our Cobra historian for the next half hour. He's with Bob Varsha at the Shelby Pavilion.
I'm with Jim Farley of Ford Motor Company, who have put together this astonishing display of some of the best when it comes to Carroll Shelby's Cobras. Jim, tell me about this collection of cars.
We tried to pick out the cars that really symbolized the pinnacles and changing of Shelby America over time. What were the key significant race cars that kind of changed the trajectory and bent that curve? And they're all here.
Well, here's my challenge to you then. Do you have a favorite, and if so, which one?
I do, but I'd rather, let's just take a look at the whole collection and we can walk through it.
All right, let's do that.
This has to be the most famous Cobra of all, 2000, the first one that Carroll ever made. And my favorite part about this car is this little chip on the hood, because it shows all the different paint colors that this car was. Carroll wanted to get on the cover of all the magazines of the day, so we repainted the car several times in the matter of a week or so. And you could see all the colors. I fell in love with Cobra because of the cover of Road and Track, and there's that yellow that's on the cover.
And that's really a part of the Shelby legend, isn't it? That he was a very small-time operator right at the beginning. The Cobra might very well have never happened.
You're so right. I remember asking Carroll, what was Lee Iacocca's response when you came in with the proposal? He said to one of his aides, get this guy out of here and give him money before he bites someone.
This is the original nose emblem of the Shelby AC Cobra. I'd never seen one until this weekend.
Well, Mike, I think it's safe to say we've all learned an awful lot about Cobras this weekend here in Monterey. And now here they come. More Cobras than we've ever seen on a single racetrack before. A combination of 289 and big block 427 cars. There's Jim Farley's machine. And there's John Linfesty's big 427. Also carrying on boards, Tucson, Arizona Ford dealer Jim Click. And the green flag for the race will be thrown by none other than Edsel Ford himself. Here they come.
Lorne Leibel in number 81 leads them up and over the top of the hill and toward the Andretti hairpin.
Up ahead on the road, you see one of the rarest Cobras of all, the Peter Brock-designed Daytona Coupe 289. That particular one in the hands of Rob Walton, driven by Dan Gurney and Jerry Grant, ran as high as third at Le Mans in 1965 before mechanical difficulties sidelined them.
The Roadster body just wasn't aerodynamic enough for the 4-mile Mulsanne straight at Le Mans, hence the need for the Daytona Coupe.
And it made only a 20-mile-an-hour difference in straight line running. And it's beautiful on top of that.
Lorne Leibel in front, shadowed by Jim Click, who keeps peeking out at just about every corner. They finished 1-2 in last week's pre-reunion race, with Leibel getting the checkered flag.
Up the hill to the signature corner here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, the corkscrew.
Leave your heart in your mouth every time you come down this, and gravity works. You rapidly pick up speed down through the corkscrew toward turns 9 and 10.
Is this really a fair fight, Mike, between the big block cars and the smaller 289 engines?
Well, the 427s were put in these Cobras because they had more torque. But the 289's a lighter car. It'll be an interesting matchup, to be sure.
Go our front runners off into a race of their own. And now we go on board with Linfesty.
He's pulling alongside Forrest Strait, taking that inside line out of the course's slowest corner, turn 11, onto the front straightaway.
Picking up the battle for the lead once again, Leibel and Click.
You know, it's fun to watch not only these great cars, but two drivers who are very familiar with each other's styles and mannerisms on the track. See how Click keeps looking inside, looking outside, trying to exploit an advantage, but so far, finding none.
These are both 289 powered cars as they flash under the bridge and up the hill to the corkscrew again.
You watch them slide through the corkscrew, Bob. The Cobras did not have sophisticated suspensions by today's racing standards, so you really have to toss them around to get the most out of them.
There's Jim Farley's machine. You get the feeling Jim Click is just waiting for an opportunity. We'll be right back. A lot of people don't realize that Cobra's evolved over the years, including individual cars like Bruce Meyer's example here. A very early car, but now very different than what it was when it was originally built.
You're exactly right. This is the second Cobra ever built, and it went over to Europe and became a race car. You're exactly right, Bob. And this car has started as a 260 street car with narrow fenders. 289 gets put in. See the roll bar, all the race equipment, fender flares. They converted to rack and pinion steering, and it lives its life in Europe, kind of actually incognito. No one really knew where it was. Leave it to Bruce Meyer, as you said, to find the car restored and bring it back to Southern California, the very place where it was created.
Well, let's pick up the race action right back at the front of the pack, where Lorne Leibel in 81 continues to lead a relentless Jim Click.
Good close-up of the driver and all the hard work you have to do controlling these cars. Now a little further back, the 199 right there is Raleigh Stevenson. He's 16th, followed by Terry Underwood, driving one of 5 Cobras brought here by Lynn Park, who was also the steward for this event. Lynn told me in the paddock, "Cobras are my life." And in recognition of that, he picked up a Rolex watch as the winner of the Spirit of Monterey Award this weekend. Ernie Nagamatsu is in the white coupe just behind them. Up front, Click still chasing Leibel.
That's about as big a lead as Lorne Leibel has had in this race. And Click chases him down, traffic ahead. Ernie's car, the number 5, Bob, technically not a coupe. That's a removable hardtop as he moves to make the pass on Raleigh Stevenson. That's a rare factory option, and it was used on the Cobra Roadsters in endurance racing for better aerodynamics.
Jimmy Cashin runs in the 98 and 19th place. Charles Fermenich in 19th. These guys are looking racy. Here comes Fermenich.
3 wide up the front straightaway.
Now keep in mind, these are valuable cars.
Down into the Andretti hairpin. Oh, be careful. Fermenich inside Nagamatsu makes the pass. Got to hit that second apex, and he does, but whoa! Told you these things are a handful.
But he keeps the position, unless Nagamatsu chooses. No, he won't.
I think a lot of discretion on Ernie's part there to keep those cars all in one piece.
Cashin has a look down the inside in 4. And you can be sure these guys are loving every minute of it. But it's about time for us to get back to the lead, where things are heating up once again. Into turn 11. Oh, and Leibel gets a little loose on exit over on the rumble strip, and that's all the room Click needs to take the lead.
Leibel tried to put the power down too soon coming out of turn number 11 and ran out of racetrack. And Click finally found a place to take advantage.
As Mike mentioned earlier, these guys race each other often, and now Click has the advantage, driving what we are told is the winningest Cobra in history. We're approaching the halfway mark. We'll be back to Monterey.
This is the most exciting part of the Cobra display, and probably the history to me, because this is where the image of Cobra is really created, on the racetrack. And there's so many important cars here. You have the development car, the first really factory race car, where a lot of the development on the street car. Then you have the first Cobra that ever won a title in a race, which is, you know, really started to form this myth about how this small car with this Ford engine could challenge Corvette. And then it became really serious. Another pivot point was the USRC and the FIA cars. That's when Ford got really serious with Shelby America, tried to take on the best in Europe and the US. That was a really big step up. And from that, we went on to the Coupe and the 427.
Back on track, Jim Farley's number 96 Cobra has moved up to third, as Rob Walton's Cobra Daytona Coupe had a mechanical problem and is off course at turn 5.
On board now with Farley. This was moments ago. Coming off turn 11. Hang on, Jim.
Well, you want to see a lot of opposite lock and no power steering in these cars. He had to manhandle that thing to keep it on track.
That's Eric Joyner up ahead of him in the 50, about to go a lap down if Jim Farley can handle turn 11. Here he comes again.
Things could be a little slick there, Bob. Yep, a little bit of a counter steer there. Or it's just a matter of getting all that torque down to the ground in such a lightweight race car.
I've got to admit, Mike, we don't see this much telemetry in Formula One.
No, Bob, it's amazing what's available, even to amateur racers these days in terms of cameras and onboard telemetry. Great teaching tools as well as entertaining.
And there's a good view of Jim having made the pass and carrying on.
Trouble at the corkscrew. Ernie Nagamatsu has overcooked it and spun out, and here come the leaders.
Oh, there goes the Hairy Canary of Bill Bridges, a regular on the European Cobra racing scene.
Jim Click gets by Lynn Park. Lorne Leibel, a little more space between them as they're headed for the checker.
Great corner there, turn 10. A little bowl effect to catch the cars. I'm sure the guys are having fun there. And off the final corner, turn 11 they come, facing the checkered flag. Just about to go by Bridges.
Great drive by Jim Click. Once he got past Lorne Leibel, he just ran time trial style laps and takes the checkered flag. Jim Farley, a hard-fought race to finish third.
Now let's take a look at what happened to Ernie Nagamatsu up there at the top of the corkscrew that got him sideways.
Looking to the outside to pass, and up there way on the outside, Bob, the track's going to be a little sandy, a little dirty, not a lot of grip, and it puts Ernie off in the cat litter.
Well, fortunately, the most important thing is he didn't hurt the car. We'll be back to hear from our winner in Monterey.
50th anniversary of the Ford Cobra. How big is this?
Hey, Mike, it is really big. It's Don Roberts' car. Don won the same race here in 1983. This is the winningest Cobra ever, so what a great day for us.
Biggest group of racing Cobras ever assembled, biggest crowd probably ever assembled to see Cobras race. What does this mean to you?
Well, I think it's a great tribute to Ford Motor Company, to Carroll Shelby. What a tribute to Carroll, who passed away. What he did for racing, for American racing, to win the Manufacturers Championship, and then to pass away this year. It's really, really special for Ford, for Carroll Shelby, Don and Sharon Roberts, who campaigned this car, and the Jim Click Ford team.
And Jim gets a hearty handshake from Bob Bondurant, who won a world championship. Let's go back to Bob Varsha and Jim Farley for a final look in the Cobra Pavilion.
And that brings us to the Daytona Coupe, Jim. Probably the ultimate iteration of the Cobra.
Absolutely, and this car won 65, the World Championship of sports cars, and frankly took on Ferrari, and that was Carroll's goal. I mean, you know, when I talked to Carroll personally in business, all he cared about was the current car, like the GT500 now, that we would beat the Corvette, 660 horsepower, and beating Ferrari. And this is a car that did it.
Tell me, in the big picture, what does it say about Ford Motor Company that they have been involved with Carroll Shelby and this classic era in performance cars?
I think the DNA of Ford is really simple. Innovation for millions. That's the Model T, the first, race that Henry funded the company from, Le Mans, the Cobra, Daytona, the GT4, everything. It really comes down to the idea of a few people innovating. We're a company of individuals, not of committees, when we're at our best. And this display shows that. It is perfect. The Carroll Shelby interrupted our life and gave us the opportunity to have this great sports car with a Ford, powertrain. And then he took this small group of people and he used innovation, a lot of West Coast hot rodders, and they competed globally for Ford and transformed the GT40 program and won Le Mans. I think it's a perfect connection with our DNA of individual innovation.
A classic automotive story for all time. Jim, thanks very much.
Thank you, Bob.
As a race car driver, Carroll Shelby was a force to be reckoned with, but his biggest legacy was clearly in the cars he built. In 1961, he approached Ford with an audacious plan to build a car that could blow the doors off the Corvette. That partnership resulted in some of the most iconic cars ever built. In 1965, they won the FIA Sports Car World Championship. And the next year, captured the overall win at Le Mans with the Ford GT and a class win in the Cobra Daytona Coupe. To date, he holds the record as the only person to have won the 24 Hours of Le Mans as a driver, team owner, and automotive manufacturer.